Every week, my boss tore apart my reports like they were written in crayon. Wrong font, wrong spacing, wrong tone. Apparently, nothing I did was ever good enough. So one day, I submitted her own work, and I watched her destroy it. If you've ever worked for someone who made your life miserable just because they could, this one's for you. Hit subscribe, like the video, and drop a comment if you've ever dreamed of the perfect workplace revenge. Trust me, this story delivers. Let's get into it. This happened 19 years ago when I worked at State Street Bank in Boston. And before anyone asks, yes, I'm naming names. Because if you're in Boston and thinking about working there, just know this. Some departments are fine, but mine? It was run by Paula. And Paula was the kind of boss who didn't just criticize your work, she criticized your existence. When I was hired, the job was pitched as elite, a mini project team tackling complex financial operations with high SVP visibility. It sounded important, strategic, career building. What it actually was a mushroom farm, kept in the dark, fed garbage, expected to grow. My entire role boiled down to compiling reports and gathering data from people who were terrified of our team. We weren't collaborators, we were auditors with sharp knives. Nobody wanted to hear from us. And Paula? She thrived on control. Every week, I prepared a report on oil warrants coming out of Nigeria. For those unfamiliar, a warrant is essentially an agreement to purchase a commodity at a set price. In this case, oil could be purchased at $30 per barrel, while market prices had spiked to $90. If the holder exercised that option and we weren't prepared, the liability would have been catastrophic. So yeah, the numbers mattered. But Paula didn't care about the numbers. She cared about commas. Every single week, I'd walk into her office with a report, and every single week, she'd tear it apart. This formatting is sloppy. Why is this sentence structured like this? This paragraph feels weak. Why did you indent this section? It was never about accuracy, never about the financial risk. It was about asserting dominance. And the worst part? She did it slowly, methodically, like she enjoyed watching you shrink in your chair. At first, I thought maybe I really was missing something. Maybe I needed to improve. So I adjusted, refined, rewrote. Didn't matter. She would always find something. And that's when I realized something critical. This wasn't about quality. This was about control. After a few months, I started looking for another job, quietly, strategically. But until I found one, I had to survive. Then one afternoon, while digging through the shared drive for archived data, I stumbled onto something. Interesting. An old folder. From before Paula had a team. Back when she did these reports herself. Curious, I opened it. And there it was. Her formatting. Her structure. Her cover letters. Her tone. And let me tell you, it wasn't perfect. In fact, by her current standards, it was unreadable. That's when the idea formed. Not out of anger, out of clarity. If nothing I did would ever be right, what would happen if I gave her herself? The next week, I rebuilt the report. Same numbers, same analysis, but the formatting? Hers. The structure? Hers. The exact phrasing from her old cover letters? Copied, word for word. I even mirrored her paragraph spacing and awkward transitions. Then, I printed it. My hands were steady, not nervous, focused. I walked into her office. She started reading. And within 30 seconds, her face tightened. "What happened to the old format?" she snapped. I kept my voice neutral. "I thought you didn't like what I'd been doing, so I thought I'd change it up." She flipped pages aggressively. "This is worse than before, probably the worst report you've submitted." She went on for what felt like 10 straight minutes, ripping apart sentence structure, tone, organization. I didn't interrupt, didn't defend, just watched. Finally, she leaned back and asked, "What were you thinking when you made these changes?" And that was the moment. Calmly, I said, "I used the formatting and language from your reports when you handled this project a few years ago. I found the folder on the network. I copied your structure and cover letters exactly, just updated the numbers." Then I slid her old reports across the desk. Printed, highlighted. Side-by-side comparisons. Silence. Her expression shifted from irritation to confusion to something else entirely. Recognition. She picked up the old report, compared it, flipped back to mine, compared again. The air in the room changed. I asked gently, if this version is bad, should I go back to my format? Less than a minute ago, she'd called it unreadable. Now, she just stared. Then she grabbed a pen, signed off on it. It's fine, send it as is. We don't have time to redo it. I paused, just to twist the knife slightly. Just to confirm it's okay to send, you mentioned it was basically unreadable. Her jaw tightened. It's fine. So I sent it. And I kept copies of everything, because I knew Paula. And sure enough, within days, the old folders disappeared from the network, deleted, moved, hidden. But I'd already saved them locally. All of them. From that point on, it became a quiet chess match. Every time she tore apart my work for formatting, I'd calmly swap to one of her previous templates. Every time she criticized structure, I'd pull another archived example. She'd start ripping into it, then hesitate, recognize it, and backpedal. After a few rounds, she realized what I'd done. One afternoon, she asked directly, "Did you save my old reports?" I didn't flinch. I created SOPs using all prior documentation. It seemed logical to standardize based on historical precedent. Corporate speak for, yes, and you can't stop me. There wasn't much she could say. Because if she admitted her old work was flawed, she'd be admitting she'd been submitting garbage for years. And if she claimed it was fine, then she had no grounds to attack mine. The power dynamic shifted, subtly, but permanently. She stopped nitpicking. Not entirely, but enough. And a few months later, I secured another job and quit. No dramatic exit, no speech, just quiet liberation. But the satisfaction? Oh, it lingered. Because it wasn't revenge fueled by rage. It was precision. It was proof. It was forcing someone to confront their own hypocrisy, using nothing but their own words. And that's what made it so sweet. The best part wasn't her signing off. It wasn't even the look on her face. It was the shift. For months, she'd built authority by making others feel small. And in one calm, controlled moment, that illusion cracked. She couldn't attack the report without attacking herself. And that silence, that was justice. Not loud, not explosive, but surgical. I didn't yell, didn't insult her, didn't break policy. I simply held up a mirror, and she couldn't stand what she saw. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. It's about exposure, about revealing the truth so clearly that someone has no choice but to see it. And sometimes, that's enough. If you've ever dealt with a boss like Paula, drop a comment. I want to hear your story. Hit like if this revenge felt satisfying, and subscribe for more stories where justice is served cold and calculated. Share this with someone who needs a little workplace vindication today.